Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. And I'm getting some cardboard. Oh, I'm gonna bend it over, I'm old. Alright, we got some cardboard here. Looks like this is the cardboard we needed. Not the cardboard we deserved. This is Dollar Tree Brown. Premium acrylic paint. Premium acryligy. Acryligy, I don't know. Rich Arts. Water soluble, non-toxic, deep brown. And good news, it conforms to ASTM D4236. We're going to get some of that. We're going to get a chunky, crappy brush. Some water, apparently. We're going to hit this thing with a really terrible base coat. Maybe missing tons and tons of the model. Maybe not. We don't even know at this point. We're just in the wind. Throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. This brush is garbage. I love it. I don't know why I'm painting the gun, because it's not going to be this color, I'm not thinking. Oh well. So anyways, you see what I'm doing. I'm half-ass painting this thing. This color of brown. I usually use a darker brown for this kind of stuff, but for this one I'm using this lighter brown. Switching things up to make it more interesting for me. Once you're happy and feel you've confidently covered everything you need to cover, like I'm starting to think I'm at that point, you can set that brush aside and get your air gun. I think that's mostly dry. So I'm going to grab a brush and some yellow paint. Yellow paint. And a brush. I'm going to get some yellow paint here. It's pretty wet. So I think it's going to do what I want. But I'm going to attempt to paint the foil part of this yellow. And I don't want to get it everywhere else. I'll just have to go back over that and paint it again. Although, I probably am going to be painting a lot of this stuff now that I'm thinking about it. Oh well, it is what it is. Okay, once you're pretty happy with that, we can move on to bigger and better things. I kind of want to paint my rocket thing yellow too. Now, light colors like this do take multiple coats, especially if you have low saturation. That's not a surprise to those of us that have been doing this for a minute or so. So what we're going to do is we're going to hot air gun this a little bit. Then we'll come back and hit it again. And the second coat, should be a little mightier. And I don't care how perfect this is. I just want it to be ballpark good. I want it to look like this was designed to be yellow, and then it wasn't yellow all the way anymore. That's all I want. I'm not looking for any award for painting. This is just something I want to throw on my table, maybe once or twice for an encounter. And if the party manages to salvage it in one piece, which I'll try to make sure they don't, so I don't have to worry about it. But it was easy to make, and it was fun to make, and it was therapeutic to make. And I say therapeutic. It's pretty bold. I don't know how therapeutic it is. All right, so I'm done with yellow for now, I think. I think I've got everything I want to be yellow. I'm going to set this up here. Something like that. And then I'm going to do this stuff with like a dark brown mixed with a metallic, like a bronze metallic or copper metallic. There's some dark brown. Here's a metallic. That's way more than anybody needs, I promise you that. Way more than we needed for this project. Big waste of paint there. Okay. My brush is damp, not soaked. I'm mixing my colors. Dark brown, metallic, coppery color. Okay. A little more metallic-y. Okay. A little bit of water. Okay. Now I'm happy. And I'm going to hit this stuff with that quickly and lazily. Try to get in some of the cracks and holes if I can. If I can't, I'm not going to sweat it. I want to get this back part here. Using the natural curve of this plastic to kind of stop me from going on to where I did my yellow. And then I'm going to touch up my inside. Cover up some of that yellow I did in there. It doesn't have to be perfect, just ballparky. Then I'm going to get down in here, get my support thing here, make sure that's not yellow. And something like this. And I'll hit my little landing things with that a little bit. Cover up any yellow I got on them. And make sure they're not black anywhere yet still. Alright, so that looks decent. That looks good. Kind of what we want to look like. I'm done with this cardboard for sure. I hope. If not, I'll dig it out of the trash. Once we're sure that's good and dry, doesn't have to be perfect, but good and dry. Let's get a piece of cardboard. Let's get a metallic. Let's get a makeup brush. That one's wet. Let me get a different makeup brush. There we go. And get a lot of that all over the brush and take a lot of that off. And then we'll beat this up. And show some wear and tear. Okay. I'm going to do some extra attention on that gun. just so it has a little more 3D and variation on it. Okay, now let's pimp this out a little bit more. Let's get a bright red. I'm going to use miniature paint for this because I've been using miniature paint for this for a couple days and it seems to work pretty well, making stuff stick out and look red. I used way more than I wanted to there. That's okay. Let me get a small brush. Something that's I can do all these like kind of headlight dealies with. With the front of that gun too. Just a little circle in the middle there. Nothing too schmance. And this one on the back. Like that. Then we need to decorate these pardon me. We'll do these two little columns with just silver. These little studs here will be just silver. We're going to do the edges of these in silver. Okay, and then we need to do something with that trim that we put on there for no reason. We did that in two different spots, so let's get a color we can use for that. I'm going to use a bright blue. I have a miniature bright blue right here called Crystal Blue. No, I'm not using miniature paint on that. Sorry, change of plan. I have this turquoise. I'm going to get a dab of this turquoise and do some turquoise stuff here. So just with this dab of turquoise, I'm going to paint these panels. And I don't care if I make it all the way out to the edge because we know that I did some dry brushing-ish with that silver. So if we don't get it all the way to the edges, that'll be exposed and it'll look like these are ripped up and scratched up too a little bit. Okay. And we want to do these little pieces we added onto the supports that hold the front end together. Just adding some continuity and some more color to it. Nothing spectacular or out of the way. If there's any spots on the gun that are particularly flat that you think you can add some color to make it look nice, go ahead and do that. I'm just doing that too. I'm just dragging it along the top real careful. Nothing too spectacular. Just adding some color to this thing is all I'm doing. All right, what else can we do with this blue? Well, let's see. We can color that in there. We can do like the top half of our fin in that blue. I'm just going to drag that along the back and the front so I see where those are. I'm going to try to duplicate that on the other side. Just like that. And all I did to know where those met up was I just drew a line across the back and across the front with the blue, so I saw where it was when I came to this side. That's all I did there. Nothing too spectacular or fancy. Not really any kind of trick to teach you, just a shortcut there. All right, I'm a little bored with this yet, so I'm having fun painting. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to draw a line down here, right along that edge. I'm going to drag one right along this edge here. And I'm just painting to paint now. I know this is going to be a nuisance, but I'm going to try it anyways. I'm going to try to go all the way along and do a very thin wonky there. When it gets dry or you don't have enough paint, it kind of drags instead of goes smooth, and that's my fault for rushing. I could have kept it looking a little nicer, but I didn't. So now I gotta kind of widen that band out. I'm painting around the top of that too. And then we'll do the inside of this like front part here. Let me get a little bit of water. My brush is getting too dry. I'm really can't get in here comfortably, and I know I shouldn't be doing it if I don't feel like I'm in a good spot to do it, but I'm going to attempt to do it anyways. Okay, something like that. It's a little boring. What else could I do here? Any ideas? Anyone? Anyone? Taking ideas? Nothing? Alright, let's put some graffiti on it then. So, I'm going to assume the Skyrich stole this thing, or some other band of miscreants. I don't know if I really want to do that. Alright, we're just going to put a number up there in black. So I'm going to get my cheap black Dollar Tree paint. Get a glob, black. Using my mouth, I'm giving my brush a really nice tip. And I'm just going to paint a number on here, and that number is going to be 7s are very easy to paint. And 2s can be easy, depending on how you do them. $72. Then I'm going to make a little crown on it. I don't know if that's really a crown, but I'm calling it a crown. And in the middle of my crown, I'm just going to do a red dot on both sides. Not bad. Definitely fun. I think it took us about 20 minutes to make it and about 20 minutes to paint it, somewhere in there. You can check the times if you care. But it's a fun little craft. A dude's going to sit right in there nicely. And he's not going to fall out easily. So, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon. Leave a comment and all the happy crappy that helps the channel grow. The comments more of a personal thing for me. I really do enjoy reading the comments. We're going to do a hold-up spin around for people that didn't get to catch it real quick. That's what it looks like right there. Okay. Not too fancy. Sturdy, though. And it'll do what you need it to. I'm going to spray paint this in a clear coat so it's kind of all holds it together and paint doesn't chip off easily or anything after it's dry. I'm going to pop it off this base. Here's the first one that I made. It's a little smaller and a little more simple. But yeah, so those are pretty easy to make, I suppose. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.